What are those stories that are going on in your head that's saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, I will never accomplish? Whether those are things that people told you when you were younger or are telling you even now, I don't know. But I'm going to share a story with you. I remember something about my childhood. I remember growing up in Vallejo, California, in the projects, 181 East Lane, apartment 797. I just remember it vividly. And um, my, in school, I wasn't the brightest one. My brother was brilliant. My sister was smart. They could do anything. They could read. They could do all kinds of things. But I was way back in the olden days. Since I'm in my 80s, you know that it was the olden days, as some of you might call it. They said I was retarded. They said I could never learn. I said, I can't, she will never learn to read. She will never learn to do anything. She can't understand. She does things backwards. All of these things that I could not do. Even when I came home and was trying to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and my father talked to me, I've told that story. And what it was is he let me know that I could do anything I wanted to do, but I didn't even understand that. My understanding was dull. And it wasn't, after he died, one of the things is that I think every time my mother saw that vegetable truck that was there the day that she told me not to answer the phone, and I answered the phone, and I don't know if she told me not to answer, but that big black telephone that let it be known that my father was dead. And my life got horrible from there. I mean, it just went into a place into a dullness, into a deadness. And I was told, as I said, at a very young age, she will never be able to read. She will never be able to understand. Can't you see? Didn't I tell you this? And didn't I tell you this again? And didn't I tell you this? And it was like, your brother and your sister are able to do this, but here you are. You should be able to do this. And so the expectation of me was so very low. um, my mother didn't seem to care that much for me, especially after my father died. So it was one of these things that I was known as a retarded person. I was known as one that was just kind of dumb and stupid. I was also fat. I was also, really very dark. I mean, I don't know how I got lighter in the in these years, but any rate, it seemed like it was, but it may have been just because my life was so dark. My life was it was one of these things where everything in my life was, you can't, I'll never amount to anything. Even in school, when they wanted to know what you wanted to be, and I said, I'm going to be a doctor. And the teacher looked at me and she says, little inwards, little, these kind of people, little nigger, anyway, the girls can't be doctors. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, what does that mean? But that's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be. And it was one of those things that I knew I had that resolve, but I didn't know how it was that it was going to happen. And then as I grew up and stuff, I got pregnant out of wedlock. And back then that was not good, and I appreciated that. And then here it was, I was stuck in a dark closet. Most of the time, my mother didn't want to see me. Nobody wanted to see me. I embarrassed the family. I couldn't understand how that happened. But anyway, it embarrassed the family. All kinds of things of this nature happened. But you need to learn how to sew. You need to learn how to cook. You need to learn how to clean. You need to learn how to do domestic work, because you will never be able to do anything else. You won't even finish high school because you don't know how to read. Numbers, you don't know how to add. So you're going to have somebody, you're going to need a husband in order to be able to help you to be able to get through life. So that was my upcoming. That was my upbringing. But one thing I understood how to do, I understood how to fight. And not just physically fight. And so the only time that my life was important to anybody was when my brother, my sister, my cousins got into trouble. Then what they would do is call on me, and they would let them know who they were related to at that time, because they knew that nobody was going to mess with me. I learned to protect myself in that manner. And so growing up, I mean, it was one of these things that this is the kind of problems that I had. So I want to talk to you. I don't know if your life has been like that. And then after my father died, it was even worse, because what happened is I got raped. I don't call it molestation, because it wasn't molestation, by some deacons in the church. And I was a preacher too, and a number of those kinds of things. I don't have church hurt, because the church didn't hurt me. It was these men that were in the church. They were rotten people, but the church was fine. The church is perfect, but the people in the church have problems. So I learned, I learned at an early age to try and not be seen, to try and hide myself, to try and to almost be invisible. And as trying to be invisible, what I did is I put myself in other situations where I wasn't protected in any of those areas. And so my life was really something miserable. And I think what happened was this. I ended up, I think I must have been, I don't know how old, 13, 14, because I started to work at 13 and, doing different things. But I had to end up doing some domestic work, cleaning some people's houses. I went into this house, and Vallejo was a very segregated place in California. Oh yeah, segregation in California. And Vallejo was one of the most bigoted places that you could live in, because there were certain areas that Black people could live in and certain areas that they couldn't. Even though they had us in same schools, there were certain areas that we just knew that we couldn't live. When you applied for an apartment, or you applied for something, if you were the wrong color, or if you were this, you couldn't get in there. So that's just the way it was. All right. But one of the things that it was is that I went to clean this house. I remember having to walk in that heat. I walked up that hill and I went into that house to clean that house. I went into these kids' bedrooms and their nasty panties and their nasty drawers and stuff. What they hadn't even cleaned that up. They were in the floor. And I decided that day, I decided, I don't care what they say I can't do. I don't care what it is that I don't know how to do. I will find a way not to have to do this for the rest of my life. That was a turning point in my head. It let me know that I can do something different. My next job wasn't a whole lot better. It was working in a kitchen, working in the Vallejo General Hospital's kitchen, and serving these dishes, washing dishes, and taking the food to the rooms. Very different from where it is now, where everything is automated and all of that. You had to take it there, and then you had to bring all these things back, and then you had to clean off of this. You had to do all that sanitation, all of those things that you had to do, which I used to own a restaurant, so that was a good thing too. But what I'm saying is this: I understood something. I did not want to do menial work. I did not want to do all that physical stuff. So what I did was this: I decided that I was going to learn how to really read and comprehend. My comprehension was horrible. All of these things that they told me I couldn't do, it was in my head. And so I told myself that. But after that day, within those two jobs, it let me know something, that I had to start to say something different to myself. Now, did I consciously? Was it a conscious thing? You're going to have to start to say something different to yourself. No, it was not conscious. And I did not say it to anybody else, because number one, no one believed in me. No one thought that I could do anything. But the thing is that I had a word from my father, that word that my father told me, that I was going to be somebody, and that I was going to be able to help people, and that I was going to do something. What I had to do is I had to take that can't. And then he gave me this thing about can't, C-A-N, the apostrophe, to act like it was a dagger, to act like it was a knife. And I was good at that, and to stab it. And I started to look at that. And then what was left was the other three words, C-A-N. And it wasn't the can of those canned beets, or those canned corn, or that can type thing. It was a thing that I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I remember crying at night. I remember just crying at night, telling myself that I could. telling myself that it didn't matter, telling myself that it didn't matter, that every time I'd pass my mother, every time I'd pass this, that I'd get hit, that these types of things that were happening. And she, I'm sure she loved me. I'm sure she did what it was, but she had her own stuff going on. She didn't drink. She did smoke and drink a lot of coffee. But the thing of it is this, she did the best that she could do. And I'm really glad that I got to go through that, because one of the things that my father had let me know was this: look, you're going to be somebody and people are going to mistreat you, but don't hold it against them. Realize that these were not the exact words, but this is what's in my memory. I continue to replay it. I replay this every time I come into a new phase of something that I do. I look at the words who I am. I look at the words that I won't amount to anything, and I look to it that I'm amounting to a whole lot. I have 3 doctorates now. I have all kinds of other degrees that really don't mean a whole lot, except I was able to do the memory. I was able to memorize the things that I have learned, the things that I'm able to teach people, the things that I'm able to teach you about your brain. Yes, those things, those technical things, that information about the body, all of this was important. The different schools that I went to, whether it was California Coast University, whether it was Carolina Christian University, whatever it was, all of these different places in which I went, I was able to do what I needed to do. Today, I still don't read that fast. I am a slow reader. I'm taking a speed reading class for the 3rd or 4th time, but I'm one of these people that I refuse to quit. I don't know how to quit. I do know how to change things. I do know how to readjust. It's things that I start to do. See, what happens is this: there are things in your life that you have quit sometimes, and you maybe what you need to do is to just readjust those things and realize that you can succeed at this, that you will succeed at this. Take those can'ts and take those wants and turn them into, this is what I WANT, not what I won't be able, not what I WON' is not able to do. Take those things that says that I can't or that I will never be able to do this, and realize that these are things that, if they're important in your life, if they're a part of what it is that your purpose is, that you can do it. I am here to tell you that you can overcome, that you can break free of those self-limiting thoughts that are in your head, what somebody else said to you or about you. And I was told these things all of my coming up life. I mean, even into high school, even into college. I mean, I was told at times, you should quit. You're not making it here. You're not succeeding in this. You're not fast enough. We need you to move faster. We need you to do this. All of these things. But I made a decision that I want more. And even when I had a daughter out of wedlock, that was another thing. I was fairly young and I had this child, and here it was out of wedlock. And I decided, baby, my child is not going to come up with this. Here it is. People said you're going to have a house full of kids, which I ended up having a whole lot of them. Any rate, a number of them, but none of them, my children grew up wanting for nothing. They grew up wanting for nothing because I found something greater than myself. Find something that you really desire to do. People have asked me, Dr. Baker, why do you wear so many diamonds? Why are you doing it? My life was so dull. I would see things sparkle. I would see people, and I would look at things and it was sparkling, and everything that I was around, it was just so brown, so dark. So there was not the light to it. So, my coach, Myron Golden, says something. I love his last name too, Golden. He said something. He says, past wants past needs, past wants, things that you wanted a long time ago, things that you grew up without. Those are things that when you do make it, when you do start to achieve, those are things that mean something to you. A lot of things don't mean anything to me, but I like diamonds. I like designing rings. I like designing those things. I like buying them. And I ain't talking about no fake rings. I ain't talking about no fake diamonds. I only do real stuff. But these are some things that are important to me. They may not be important to you, and I don't wear them for other people. You see, here is the thing. You, to your own self, be true. Find out what you desire. Find out what you really think about yourself. I found out that when I started to realize something, that I was more than what people said I was, then I realized that I could be and I could do and I could have and I could share. And I don't have to feel bad. I don't have to be embarrassed. I don't have to blame somebody else for the things that they said. All of these things that were done, all of the bigotry, all of the prejudice, all of the things that my mother said, my father dying, the people that that raped me, the husbands and those bad relationships, all of the different things that I did, the prostitution, the drugs, the alcohol, all of those things, which I'm free of all of that today, have been for the last 40 some years. But what I'm saying is this, that these are things that I overcame. And as I overcame them, I found out there is nothing that I go after that I will not succeed in. I know that I can do and I can have. And why is that? Because I found out who I am. I found out that I am a valuable person, just like you are. You are valuable. And when you share your story, when you find the people that you are attracted to and that are attracted to you, that hear your voice. Everybody that hears my voice is not going to like what I say, but I don't really care about that, because I intend to repulse those that need to be repulsed. But those that I am sent to help, I am going to give them 100%. I am going to fixate. I'm going to think about, how is it that I can help them? How is it that I can do this? How can I help them to grow? How can I help them get rid of the can'ts in their life? How can I help them to get over the won'ts? How can I help them to get over those hurts and realize that those hurts can be turned into a potential income, that those hurts are things that did not happen to them to keep them down, but those hurts, you take it and you reframe it, reframe your past, look at things in a different way, and then you will find out who it is you are, what it is that you're capable of doing. The problem is when you start to actually live from those areas that other people say that you are or you aren't. You're living from the outside in. And as long as you're living from the outside in, you will be what you hear or what you project other people to say. I found out something, and I'm going to tell you something that's a secret here. And, well, everybody's going to be able to hear it, that you want to go ahead and tell it. I found out that the things that I was perceiving that other people were saying about me or thinking about me, because, now listen to this, because of what it was that happened at an early age, that happened in my youth, that happened in my childhood, that happened even before I was 6 years old, and the things that happened all the way up, up until I accepted the free gift of salvation with Jesus Christ. Okay, all of those things that happen, all of those things. That those things were going around and around in my head. I was replaying them, and I was replaying them and projecting them as if they were real. They were real in my life. And when I found out it was only a projection, that these were things that were not true, and when I started to unravel them, and I started to look at myself, and I started to do mirror therapy, and I started to realize that I was more than I thought I was. Then the words and the way that other people started to look at me was very different. And it was because I was looking at them through my own eyes. I was seeing them look at me the way I was looking at me. So all of those things that says that I can't have a successful life. I can't have a successful marriage. My children will not have the success. This won't happen. I stop. I mean, it's not, I do not depend on the government. I do not depend on other people for my happiness, for my joy, for my validation. You don't have to do that. Validate yourself. When I started to validate myself, then I found out I can do this. I don't have any limits, really. Why is that? Because I realized I am a spirit being that God made. And so, therefore, my imagination, my mind, my brain, my abilities to grow, I can maximize my thoughts. I can change the way that I think. I can change the way that I talk. So I talk differently. And when I talk differently, I see differently. I have this thing called mind sight. And so what it is that's going on in my mind, this is what it is that I see. So God has said, I made you in my image and after my likeness. I have given you my imagination. So I want you to see those things that you could never see before. Now my eyes are open. My heart is open. My abilities are open. My expectation is open. Now I can believe that, okay, I can have exponential growth. I can do this because the only thing that was stopping me was me. Nobody can stop you but you. No one can keep you poor but you. No one can keep you broke but you. No one can keep you helpless but you. You have the power, the God-given power. And because you're a spirit, there are no limitations. And this is not a new agey type thing. This is a biblical thing. This is why God said in his word, have the mind of Christ. And what does that mean? That Christ did not see limitations in his mind. That is the spirit mind. That is the way that you're able to expand. You got a spirit brain, you got a spirit mind, you got spirit sight, you have all of these things. And so therefore, how do you think that Einstein, how do you think that George Washington Carver, how do you think that many of these different people, how do you think that they imagine these things? Leonardo da Vinci, all of these people, they imagined what they saw, and then they took away everything else, just like the statue of David. How did you do that? And he says, I took away everything that was not David. So in that, and I think that is a powerful statement. He says, I chiseled and I took away everything that was not David. I want you to do what I'm doing in my life. I'm taking away everything that is not Baker, everything that is not the person that I see. First, I got a mind sight. I see who it is that I am. I see myself 20 years down the line. And you say, well, you're in your 80s, you'd be at 100. I'm still seeing that. The other night I was watching something. I was watching these men from Japan, and one was 98 years old. And my gosh, he was doing all of these things. His body was in great shape. His mind was in great shape, all of this. Age does not age you. It's your mind that ages you. It's what you think about yourself that ages you, disables you, or enables you and allows you to get excited and allows you to have the energy, allows you to be able to produce. You can produce at any age. I am producing more now. I have more excitement about my life now than I've ever had. Don't you wait. You may not have the time to wait like I did. You don't wait until you're in your 80s. Don't wait until you're in your 70s. Or if you're there, realize that, hey, we're going to go with it. Wherever you are, whatever age you are, wherever you are in life today, is your day. This moment is your moment to change the way that you think about you. And then you will see that you'll take out the don'ts, the can'ts, the won'ts, because I see myself as doing this. God did this. He started from the end. He told them from the end what it was going to be. And then he went back to the beginning and had it start to walk out. See yourself as who it is you are. As I said, I see myself 20 years out. I see the wealth. I see the people. I see the different things. I see all of these people that I will be able to help and assist, to help them to pull out who it is that they are. I see the healthiness. I see the healthy brain. As Dr. Amen says, the brain envy. I have brain envy. Now my brain, my thoughts, my ideas, and all of these things, they're growing. They are not shrinking. And so I invite you on this journey with me to be all that you have decided that you are to be, because what God has planned for you is greater than anything any person can box you in with. Unleash the boxes that you have yourself in. No one has boxed you in. No one has put you in a box, but the boxes that you've made, the boundaries that you have put on the inside of yourself, the boundaries in which you have set. Some of you, those boundaries are imprisoning you. Loosen those boundaries, broaden your territory so that you can accomplish. Remember, if you want to, you can. Nobody can stop you. If so your cans are not can'ts anymore. Your wants are not WON''T's anymore. This is what I want, and this is what I'm going after. And so now they are you I haves. They are your I haves. So be all that you are to be. See yourself. See yourself in your future. See yourself as it is that you want to end this race. See yourself there, and then come back and be willing to do the work. Join me on another YouTube. Like this, subscribe, push the alert button and all of those things, and share it with somebody else. And I'll see you on the next YouTube video or all of these other platforms, wherever this is going. Bye-bye.